It's that time of year again. It seems like everyone is making resolutions because they're told, new year, new you. After watching my friends do this year after year after year and seeing them fail, I knew I had to take action. The biggest thing they're doing wrong is related to their mindset. In this video, you'll learn 4 reasons to get into a mindset for success, and you'll be given a goal setting tool to help you create your own roadmap that will work for you. I'm Ellen Spiegel. I have decades of business experience, over 30 years experience working with startups, and I'm a recovering politician, having served in the Nevada legislature for 10 years. I know how to reinvent myself, and I've been a mentor and coach, successfully helping others transform themselves using a structure for change. Now, I want to help you. First, some context. There is a process of change. Understanding it will put things into perspective and increase your likelihood of success. There are 6 separate stages in the process of change. Stage 1 is called status quo. In that, you're kind of tooling around, everything is fine, you're not really thinking that there's anything that needs to be changed, you don't have to be doing anything different, you're perfectly content. Then you get to stage 2, and you become aware that there's something that you need to be changing, something that you'd like to be improving about yourself. This could be something that's coming from you internally, it could be coming from somebody externally, something could have happened that's a situational component, but you become aware of an issue. And it often takes time to let this kind of resonate before you decide that you're going to take action. When you decide to take action, you're at stage 3. And you say, I'm going to do something. And that's normally the part where people are at this time of year. They're saying, you know what, I need to make some changes. Stage 4 is when change occurs. Stage 5 is really a tough one. That's maintenance. That's just keep on doing it for the long haul. And eventually that turns back into stage 1, status quo, because you've changed your habits and you're doing things the way you've always done them. But there's a 6th stage, and that's called relapse. And it can happen at any point in here. So let's say you're aware that there's an issue, but you're like, I just don't have the strength to deal with it right now. I'm good enough with things back at the status quo. So you go from stage 2 to stage 6, back to stage 1. Or you could be at stage 3 and say, you know what, I am going to make change. I am going to do something. And then again, you just say, I don't have the strength for this. And this can happen, and you can move back and forth between different stages at any time. It's perfectly normal, and it happens all the time with lots of people. So don't feel bad if it happens to you, because it will, and I'm sure it already has, just like it has for me and lots of other people. Because you've made it this far, I know you're at least at stage 2 and considering the possibility of change. By the end of this video, you'll have your first tool in stage 4, taking action to try and achieve change. So let's get into our 4 reasons to begin reinventing yourself today. The number 1 reason to set goals is that you have to keep moving forward. If you're not moving forward, you're being left behind. You know, a number of years ago, I used to belong to a gym, and they had one of these fancy rowing machines. And as I would be rowing and rowing and rowing, there was a little video screen that was showing a representation of my boat. And I was supposed to be keeping up with the current and keeping up with the other rowers. And I just could not get the hang of it, and I could not go fast enough. And I kept falling behind and behind and behind. And eventually I fell off the screen. And when I fell off the screen, I started laughing and I said, well, that's it. I can't do this anymore because I can't even keep up and keep my boat on this screen. But it illustrates the point that if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. The current is moving in one direction and you're just drifting off to sea. It's really important. And if you think about people who are really, really successful, they are constantly reinventing themselves and constantly changing. Perhaps the best example I can give you is Oprah Winfrey. She has been a successful actress in plays and theater. She's been a phenomenally successful interviewer and TV personality. She has started a publishing company. Just think of all of the different things that Oprah has done. Each one builds on the last, and each one takes her to another plateau of greatness. It's hard to think of anything that Oprah's done that hasn't just been a phenomenal success. But she does it by reinventing herself and looking for the next stage and the next thing to be doing. Which brings me to the number 2 reason to set personal goals for yourself. And that's because you derive benefits from making positive change. It improves your mental health. It improves your physical health. You become more interesting. You actually do, because now you have things to talk about. It's not like, oh yeah, it's just the same old, same old. And you become the person that you actually want to be. I have an exercise coming up in a few minutes that will give you the first tool you need so you can get started today. Please let me know what you think about it, putting your thoughts into the comments below. The number 3 reason to establish goals for yourself is that there are serious risks of inaction. Well, A, you become stagnant and you could metaphorically fall off that screen just like the little rowboat did that I had at the gym. Second thing is that you could actually become the loser that you were afraid you'd become. You know, if you've always do what you've always done, you're not going to ever have different results. Nothing's going to just magically appear and change you if you don't do it yourself. And then there's the third piece of this. It's what I call locking in the loss. If you've ever done financial planning and you've ever worked with finance, you know that the market goes up and down and it changes. And the thing is that if you decide that you're going to sell when the market goes down because you're too afraid of losing your money, you've now lost your money. You're not going to be able to make that back when the market goes back up. And historically, the market always goes back up. It's just a matter of how much time. So if you don't want to lock in the loss, then you have to be doing things to be improving yourself and moving ahead. And the number 4 reason to get started today is that I'm giving you tools for free. Right now, I'm going to give you the first tool. I call this Getting to Why. It helps you understand your motivation and helps you prioritize your goals and increases your likelihood of success. So as you look over here on the left side is that you're going to list out 3 things that you would like to change, 3 changes that you would like to make, because we're going to help you with prioritizing them and understanding your own personal motivation, which is what will, number 1, be most mission critical in helping you succeed. So I'll just give you one example. I'm always using weight loss as an example. So if you look at the side on the right, you'll know that for you, change number 1, for me, just kind of doing this metaphorically, is I'd like to lose some weight. It's something that I would like to change. And then the next thing is write down and actually take time to write these things down. And it's important because it will help you go back and look at it and assess what you should be doing. So the next thing is, why do I want to make this change? I want to make this change. I know I want to make this change because I did it before and I want to get back to my goal weight. I felt better. I felt healthier. I had more energy, and it's just a good thing. Now, the next question is, and be honest, is this change internally or externally driven? So I'm going to show you pictures, a couple of pictures. I have struggled with my weight for years. And a number of years ago when I was serving the assembly, every session there's an annual softball game. And I like to play on the team. And one year I bought the jersey. And here's a picture of me in my jersey. And you can see I was much heavier then than I am right now. And I looked at that picture and I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this is what I look like. I just couldn't believe that I had gotten that large. And I said, this is not acceptable and I have to make a change. And I went back and joined Weight Watchers, I think for the 6th time, maybe the 7th time. And I worked really, really hard at doing this. And I actually did reach my goal. And here you can see another picture of me when I made it to Lifetime and I made it to my goal. You can see that I'm wearing the same jersey. I brought it with me just to show the difference so you could actually see my transformation. And that to me was so motivating. Except it was really hard to keep up. And I'm a stressful eater And it was a very stressful time, and I started eating, and I put back on some weight, and now I'm back trying to take it off again. So again, if you go back to that process, you could see where I've gone, I've relapsed, I've gone back, I've tried it, I've done different things, and now I'm back in taking action again. So now you say, what is my motivation? And you rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. And then give yourself an honest assessment of the likelihood of making the change on a long-term basis and why. So I can tell you that I'm pretty motivated right now, but I'm not as motivated now as I was when I first took that picture. When I took that first picture and I was so heavy, at that point I was so motivated. And I'm still motivated. I'm just not as motivated because the problem isn't as severe. So instead of then it was maybe a 9 or a 10, now I'm probably about a 7. So it's not quite the same thing. Now I look at this and I say, well, what's my honest assessment of the likelihood of making this change on a long-term basis and why? And my likelihood is actually pretty high. And it's because I've done this before. I have ingrained a lot of this into my persona and into how I eat on a normal basis. And the biggest thing that I know I need to deal with is stress eating. So perhaps my change number 2 would be the change that I'm going to make second is instead of reaching for peanut butter when I'm stressed out, go for a walk. So you see, that's something where I can do something and make positive change in a way that I'll actually be talking about in my next video, and you'll hear about that then. But understanding your why and why you're doing something and what motivates you is something that's really critical for your long-term success, because the more it's something that's internally driven and important to you, the more likelihood you have of being able to succeed and have the stamina to follow through when the going gets tough. Once you've completed the section on the right, go back to the left side and rank order your top 3 changes in order of what's most achievable. Those become your priorities. I want you to start with the things you can achieve first and build on successes, rather than starting from what's the most challenging and then having to face a really high hurdle too early. Please email me if you'd like a free PDF of this worksheet. My email address is ellenbspiegel@gmail.com. ELLEN, letter B, Spiegel, SPIEGEL, @gmail.com. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. That saying is a cliche for a reason, and that's because it's true. By watching this far, you've taken the first step. Congratulations! In my next video, I'll dive into the number 1 secret of successful goal setters. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.